Your effortless morning commute used to be a grueling life or death mission. Today, you sit comfortably, you put in absolutely zero physical effort, and you easily cruise at 40 miles an hour. But 100,000 years ago, that exact same trip would have taken 2 full days of walking, completely barefoot. There were no paved roads, no cleared paths, no signs pointing the way. You were moving through territory that could easily kill you. Getting anywhere meant risking absolutely everything you had.
And this was the reality for a very, very long time. For roughly 300,000 years. Yeah, let that number sink in. Every single journey a human being ever took happened at walking speed. That one fact shaped absolutely everything about our existence. For hundreds of millennia, our own 2 feet were the absolute limit of our physical world. That single limitation governed what our ancestors ate, who they formed communities with, and exactly how much of this planet they were ever able to see in a single lifetime.
Section 1. Builds to never stop, the walking era. So to overcome this massive barrier of distance, our biology basically engineered a cheat code. I mean, we aren't built for cheetah-like speed, right? A cheetah might hit 70 miles per hour, but it can only keep that up for a few seconds before it's literally gasping for air. Humans, on the other hand, are built to sweat, conserve energy, and simply never stop walking. We have arches in our feet and Achilles tendons that act just like biological springs, storing and releasing energy with every single step so our muscles don't have to do all the heavy lifting. We've got a specialized ligament running right up the back of our neck that stabilizes our head while our body moves underneath it. And crucially, we have about 2 million sweat glands to cool us down. This let us just keep going while other large mammals in the savannah overheated and had to stop. We are literally built to never stop.
And we actually have physical proof of this biological supremacy in Tanzania. Back in 1978, paleoanthropologist Mary Leakey discovered the Lei-Toli footprints, bipedal walking footprints from 3.6 million years ago, pressed permanently into volcanic ash that look almost exactly like yours. It's the oldest evidence of bipedal walking ever found. For millions of years, this was the only transportation technology humans had, and somehow it was enough to take us further than any species has ever gone.
Here's the really wild part, though. When early humans walked 15,000 miles out of Africa, they weren't just wandering around aimlessly. They were networking. Starting roughly 70,000 years ago, humans walked across the Middle East, spread all over Asia, reached Europe, walked into Siberia, crossed into Alaska, and headed all the way south through the Americas. Archaeologists know this wasn't random because they found things like amber treated across vast mountain ranges and seashells found hundreds of miles inland. They knew specific resources existed because of communication. They were actively connecting with other groups generation by generation, all on foot.
Section 2. Conquering the water barrier.
Now, walking works great, right? Until you hit a wall. And for early humans, that wall was the ocean. Imagine hitting the actual edge of the world. You either find a shallow crossing, you turn around, or you do something no other land animal had ever done before. You see, you can walk across a blazing desert or a treacherous mountain pass, but a raging river or a massive ocean? That stops you dead in your tracks. For a long, long time, a body of water was an absolute wall. But then, picture this. Around 65,000 years ago, humans crossed to Australia. They took a complete blind leap of faith into the open ocean with absolutely no idea if land was actually on the other side. This meant sailing across at least 60 miles of open water. You cannot see Australia from the other side, and you definitely cannot just drift there by accident. Someone intentionally built something that could float, pointed it directly toward the horizon, and paddled into the absolute unknown. From there, our conquest of water progressed in these stunning leaps. Roughly 800,000 years ago, someone crossed at least 12 miles of ocean to reach Flores Island, which we know for sure because we found their stone tools there. Jump to around 10,000 years ago, and we have the Pesce canoe from the Netherlands. But it all really culminates with the insane precision of the Polynesians. Starting about 3,000 years ago, they crossed the largest body of water on Earth. They sailed double-hulled canoes across 2,500 miles of open water, mapping the Pacific by reading only the stars, the ocean swells, bird flight patterns, and even cloud colors. No compasses, no maps, just pure, brilliant observation. Section 3. Solving the weight problem. Okay, so distance and water were conquered, but then we hit a totally different biological limit. The human body starts breaking down when you carry more than about 60 pounds. You might be able to walk 20 miles, sure, but you definitely can't walk 20 miles carrying a 200-pound animal you just hunted. So first, early humans started dragging heavy game on animal hides. Next, they invented the travois, tying two long poles together in a V shape to drag behind them, which brilliantly spread out the load. But the greatest breakthrough wasn't actually something we built, it was something we befriended. When we domesticated dogs, we gave them jobs. A single dog could haul 45 pounds on a sled through Arctic snow, fundamentally changing how much a family could transport. Section 4. The horsepower revolution. Now, dogs were super helpful, for sure, but to truly shrink the world, humanity needed something much, much bigger. Enter the horse. In a single generation, our 300,000 years speed limit was completely shattered, and the world instantly got 8 times smaller. For hundreds of thousands of years, the absolute fastest a human could travel was walking speed, maxing out roughly around 4 miles per hour. Suddenly, on horseback, you could hit bursts of 30 miles per hour. You could cover in mere days what used to take weeks. Trade routes stretched further, messages moved at totally unprecedented speeds, and honestly, the very nature of warfare changed forever. And archaeologists actually found the evidence for this massive shift from the bow-tie people about 5,500 years ago on the steppes of what is now Kazakhstan. The evidence proves they weren't just hunting wild horses. They had figured out how to tame them and built their entire existence around riding and milking them. It's undeniable. We see wear marks on ancient horse teeth, proving they used bits to control the animals. And incredibly, scientists even found meer's milk baked right into their ancient pottery. Section 5. The late arrival. Wheels. Now, get ready for a set of milestones that is going to completely defy your logical expectations. We naturally assume the wheel was our first great triumph, right? But the oldest known wheel, which was found in the Ljubljana marshes, is roughly 5,200 years old. That means humans had crossed the Pacific Ocean and tamed wild horses literally thousands of years before someone finally invented a wheel that could roll across the dirt. And the ultimate twist here? The greatest transportation breakthrough in human history was basically an accident. It didn't even start out as transportation. The first wheel was strictly a spinning disc used to shape clay for pottery. Eventually, someone must have looked at that potter's disc, flipped its orientation on its side, and just wondered what would happen if they put a platform on top of it. A total game changer, completely by chance. But it took a while to perfect. Because those early solid wood wheels, they were heavy, they cracked easily, and they got stuck in the mud all the time. Honestly, a horse without a cart was way faster. But when the lighter, spoked wheel was finally invented around 2000 BC, you suddenly had both speed and cargo capacity. Once you combine those spoked wheels with horses and early paved roads, which started appearing around 4000 BC, you finally get the true transportation systems that allowed empires to just explode across the map. Section 6. Distance is finally dead. So, we've moved from barefoot survival to the ultimate convenience. We have solved the problem of distance so completely that today, we get irritated when our smartphone takes 5 minutes to summon a car for us. We've forgotten the ancient struggle entirely. Your ancestors walked completely barefoot for 15,000 miles across continents they couldn't even name, solely because staying still meant dying. Today, we sit in a climate-controlled metal tube flying 3,000 miles across an ocean in just 6 hours, and we get visibly annoyed if the in-flight Wi-Fi is a little sluggish. We are so removed from the physical toll of movement that we've completely forgotten it was ever a problem in the first place. Every highway you drive on, every airport you fly out of, every next-day delivery that shows up at your door, it all traces back to a pivotal moment 300,000 years ago, when someone looked at an impossible horizon, didn't know exactly what was out there, and decided to take a step anyway. But I want to leave you with a question to think about for our modern, effortless world. Now that we've completely conquered distance and the physical struggle of moving is basically gone, what barriers are left for us to break?